So what would it be like if you let go of control and you started to trust in yourself, in the universe, in others, and let life flow and be in that trust? In today's video, I'm going into talking about how we get disconnected from certain things. And when we're in this place, hustle and grind, making things happen, we get into a place where we have to be at a certain level of control. We have to force it and make it to happen. And today I'm going to talk about doing it in a different way and connecting into trust rather than having to control. And thank you for joining me today. I'm AmyC with You Finding You. I'm an intuitive and transformational coach, and I help you get into alignment. And what I mean by getting into alignment is getting into a place where you are living your truth, you are living your passion, your purpose, and really being in that in your day to day. So continuing on the theme this week of getting disconnected when we're in this hustle and grind rat race of a lifestyle, we get disconnected in different areas and different aspects in our life. And today I'm going specifically into how we get into a certain level of control and we lose trust. We lose that trust of knowing that things will happen and will happen in the right flow and will happen for us, and trusting in our own skills, in our own abilities, and those around us. So when we're in this place of like, I really got to get these things done, really have to push and push. An example I'm thinking of is when I would be working long, long hours and come 7, 8 o'clock at night, I was like, here's my cutoff. I need to go home. I need to get sleep. And I found that many of my coworkers would continue working throughout the night and then, be there till midnight or maybe later, who knows. And then the next morning coming in again exhausted and worn out, where I actually would have a decent night's sleep. And because I had that decent night's sleep, I was able to be more productive. So in this case, the way I was approaching things is I knew that I could come in the morning and I would be in a better state. I would be more mentally in a good place that I could then actually get the work done that I needed to get done instead of pushing or forcing it through. And a lot of times when we're in this place of staying those long hours, it's because of certain fears of, I'm afraid that I'm not going to actually get this outcome, so I need to keep pushing until I do. Or I'm afraid of, I don't know if I can actually get this done. So I need to keep working on it because I'm actually not sure. And so in that not knowing if I can get it done, a fear of failure. Like, I don't want to be failing with this, and I want to make sure that I can get it done. So I'll just keep working until I know that I have this or I can get it done, or I'm so exhausted that I'm basically rolling out of here. So in my case, I always had a trust in my own abilities and my skills. Like, I just had a knowing in myself that I would get it figured out, and I knew I could get it figured out. So there was a trust in my own skills and my abilities. And so come 7, 8 o'clock at night, doing these long hours, I was like, you know what? It's time for me to go get rest. And then in the morning, I can work on this and I can get it done. And so it was a trust in my own skills and my abilities. But you can also put trust into knowing that things will happen in the right timing and things will come together as they need to come together. So we too often get into a place of, it needs to happen now, I need to make this happen, I need to push, and you push and you force, but in that pushing and forcing, like, I feel this energy in myself of getting tense and I'm having to make it happen. So at one point I was setting up a website for myself, and every step of the way it seemed like, oh, this isn't working, this is not linked to this, and this is, and I had no idea how to get these things to work because it was a brand new hosting site. It was brand new with all these things, and they had no information on YouTube. They had no information on their own site for certain things that I needed. And I was like, wow, this is so difficult. Like, every step of the way, I just was like up against a wall, up against a wall. And I know my old patterns would be like, just keep pushing through, you'll make it happen, it will come together. And then I sat back and I looked at this and was like, oh, I have all this resistance in myself of actually making this happen. Like, I had all these fears and concerns. I didn't want to have a presence out in the world. I didn't want these things. So every step of the way was difficult along the way. And what I ended up doing then was I'm like, okay, I'll step back from this. I'm actually not going to use that site because it is just too much of a grind of pushing and forcing and making. And I ended up then finding on YouTube someone else talking about another hosting site that I was like, wow, and he has a whole training here for me too of like how to set all this stuff up. It ended up being like I got everything set up in a day where I was taking weeks over on the other site. So I talk about this because there's your own internal resistance. And I had that in myself of like, I don't know if I can get this done. I don't want to have a presence. I don't want to face this. So we get to a place where we're like, well, I just got to make it happen. Rather than stepping back and looking inside of us and saying, what is my own resistance? What is going on in me? And then being able to shift into a place of acknowledging that you have this resistance and being able to shift it and then trust in what are ways that would work better for me? What is more aligned for me? And like I said with that one example, I then was able to get aligned into this place of finding an actual training of how to set everything up. So, a couple of examples here. First, the trusting in your own skills and abilities. And then the other one of seeing your own resistance and seeing how you're pushing or forcing or trying to make things happen. But internally, there's something going on of not wanting it to actually happen either. So, it ends up making it this way more difficult thing than what it needs to be. So, for yourself, if you need to be, and I was talking about letting go of control, and in the one case where trusting in my own skills, believing in this, I can get these things done. As you're not believing in it, you're like, I have to control all of this, these things, and all the ways it's going to happen, and I'm going to keep working until I actually make it happen. But if you step into trusting instead and knowing in yourself, you don't have to have the outcomes. You don't have to have the control in a certain way. And then as well, with my own resistance of not wanting this, website to be put together in a certain way, again, it was like I'm pushing, I'm controlling everything along here and needing to have it happen in a certain way, and it's not. So I just kept pushing harder. In the end, it wasn't about pushing, controlling, it was about stepping back and seeing that actually there was this resistance inside of me. And actually, it wasn't about needing to control the situation. It was about stepping into and acknowledging in myself what needed to be healed, what needed to be seen. And then in seeing it, I was able to find a whole different way of approaching things. And that too is a certain level of trust, of knowing that once you work through this stuff in yourself, you can say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need in my life. And the universe brings it in. And like I said, I ended up finding this guy on YouTube that had then a whole training of how to set things up. So it was like, oh, once I got aligned in myself, I then was able to create and have these things come in. So it's not about pushing, forcing, making, controlling things. It was about trusting and stepping in, acknowledging my energies and where I'm at, what needs to be seen. So do have a look. If you feel you're in a place where you have to control things, where you have to make it happen, where you have to push through things, is there an underlying issue, or is there your own trust in yourself or even in others? Like, do you believe or trust in their skills, what they're contributing? and see how or if you can shift those beliefs for yourself and see if it actually shifts this need to control, need to make, need to push things in your life. So thank you guys for joining me today. And if you are enjoying and getting value out of these videos, do hit that like, share, and subscribe. Thank you again. I'll see you in the next video.